I think for AC Milan, I think a silver lining is obviously you made the semifinal. That's a big achievement on its own. Tonali is a young midfielder. He's not even up. I think he's starting to really
He's so good.
hit a prime here. He's 23, and we're about to see the best season. The best seasons are yet to be seen from him. I think. You have the center back. I think Malik Dia, the German. I don't know how to pronounce his name. Tamori, Theo Hernandez, Rafael Leao. Like, there's a lot of good players there for Milan, and I think they're. I really hope AC starts competing more in the league. Every year you see Bayern Munich in the Champions League semifinals, or over the past decade. I remember every year you'd see Bayern or Real Madrid, and I hope we kind of see that with Milan and even Inter and Napoli. I feel like right now we're seeing a real renaissance in Italian football. You have Napoli winning the Scudetto, you have Inter in the Champions League final, Milan in the semifinal. It's great to see, this, historic footballing nation on the club level and international really coming back to where it used to be.
Yeah, for me, I just hope it stays there consistently. Like right now, Inter have done such a good job. I think the top three in Serie A are Napoli, Juve, which they've done so well to get into top three, and Inter. And AC Milan's not in a Champions League spot. So for me, I'm just like, I need them to stay consistent because it's so important for their development, obviously, as a team. And you mentioned all the talented players they have. It's just, again, in both of those legs, like you could tell in that first leg when Rafael Leao didn't play because he was injured, how much they missed his presence. And, you didn't really see much of Giroud. And even Brahim Diaz, like today, like his quality could have been better. And Tonali, I love him. I think every single time I watch him play, I'm like, this guy is getting better and better somehow. But he doesn't have like a supporting cast around him sometimes, or that help even up top. I was just, this is probably being one of the biggest critics of AC Milan right now, because yes, you're right. They've done so well to get to a Champions League semifinals, but they could have done so much more. And we saw them do that against Napoli, that I'm like, oh, how are we not going to that final? But, it's just a matter of them now staying consistent. And I will reiterate what you said was, I love to see Italian football and Serie A kind of get that respect that they deserve. And I never cheer on Inter, but it would be very, very cool to see an Italian team win the Champions League, because all anyone is saying right now is that was the most boring Champions League semifinal that they've ever watched. And I understand. I think there was a lot of hype with San Siro, being the stadium that they're playing at, and both legs being played at the same stadium. And the last time these two teams played in the Champions League was back in 2004, and that was when all the flares were being thrown. So I think everyone expected fireworks, and there were none. I think that a lot of that has to do with, unfortunately, AC Milan. But yeah, it would be nice to see an Italian team win the Champions League, so people put respect on the league, because it's been a very good league to watch this year.
And I think Napoli is the team that's obviously gotten a lot of the love and storylines. But now you've entered in the Champions League, which I feel like no one's really talked about them. Like I mentioned the last time we did this podcast, and it's just like it's a breath of fresh air almost, because the last time you had an Italian team was Juventus. I think they made the Champions League once in their dominance of Italy. It was once or twice they made it. I can't remember, but they didn't win the Champions League, and they've never won the Champions League, Juventus, I'm pretty sure, in their history, right? So it's nice to see Inter and AC Milan reminding everyone who owns this league. And, Napoli, I'm really happy to see them succeeding, but I'm pretty sure they're going to be losing a few key players in the summer, maybe one or two. For Milan, I think if they want to get back to this position, I feel like they may need a better striker. Nothing against Giroud, but if you look at the league, he has 8 goals this year. Like, he can score you a nice goal here and there when it matters, but you need some consistent scoring at the top. And I think you look at Inter, and that's what they got from Lautaro Martinez right at the end there. Even Romelu Lukaku, the way he's able to shield the ball and shield the defender, and Milan's a great team, but Inter just got the edge. And you mentioned how boring of a semifinal is. I mean, I have another Inter friend, and I went to high school with him in middle school, and he always mentioned how Milan versus Inter is always a boring game. It's not very exciting. And I think you got a bit of a glimpse of that.